My name is Steve Dion. I am the president of the Marshfield Education Foundation. So at MEF, we like to look at grants that are a wide variety of support for the children. Here at the high school, brand new, beautiful high school, I want to make sure that the kids have the technology that they need. And the Anatomage table really fit the bill on that perfectly. After doing the research on the table itself and everything that it did and what opportunities it's offering for the kids, it was a no-brainer, honestly. I knew a lot about the table just doing the research on the grant initially, so I had a great understanding of what it did, but seeing it in action today and seeing the kids utilize it, that's just amazing to see in person.
My name is Christy Pitts. I am a science teacher here at Marshfield High School. So this is the Anatomage table, and it does a little of everything, and I fear that we maybe have barely touched on the surface of it. It is very detailed. So there are 5 human cadavers that have been digitized into the table, and it is a fully interactive device that students can use to manipulate all of the cadavers in almost an endless amount of ways. Right now, all of the anatomy classes are actively using the Anatomage table, and I've been also using it with my Future Medical Professionals Club. The student impact has been incredibly positive. They really reacted well to having this in the classroom. They love that they can get hands-on, and they're very intuitive about using it. It's actually kind of not hard to use it, even though it has thousands of case studies in it. If you take a step back and see what the kids can do with it, it's pretty inspiring. To stand back and hear the kids respond and go, wow, that's what that looks like. It's a really incredible way for them to see comparative anatomy. So they'll look at 2 or 3 different cadavers and they'll see the same structure looks a little different in each of the cadavers. It's another layer of creating a classroom that's more student-centered and less teacher-centered, which is our goal, is to have the students learn through investigation, and this has been an incredible tool on that path for sure.
Personally, I've been using it for my internship, which is going to be coming up next term. I'm going to be working in Mass General Labs, in the vascular lab for specifically peripheral artery disease. I've since watched tons of videos, I've watched tons of stuff, but I haven't really gotten a proper look at it, and this table is actually probably the best way to see not only all the systems, but certain cases and diseases in the way that it affects the body, because you have the full lowdown of what is going on. What I think is super interesting about using this is you can make independent discoveries just by looking at something and then have that be backed up by not only looking at the other systems, but looking at the case and looking at the description of the case. First up, the learning is a lot more organic when you're just looking at the body and you're looking at what's happening in the body than reading a textbook. This Anatomage table is vast. So like, even though I'm going over the peripheral artery, this is like such a specific subsection, it almost doesn't do it any justice. I think that's probably the best part, is just how big it is.
Me personally, I have used this for my AP psychology project of studying about the brain. And I have also used this in my honors anatomy class, looking at the skeletal system as well as the muscular system. I like how interactive it is and how I'm someone who learns very visually. So I like to see where things are, how they interact with other things. And I think this table is a great way to see that and learn that, especially on the human body, because I'm so fascinated with science. It's a really great way to learn how different parts of the human body, where they are, how they interact, because the Anatomage table is 3D, and you can also like zoom in, zoom out, how everything works together. You can use it in different classes. Like I said, I used it in my AP psychology class, studying about the brain. We've used it in the anatomy classes, and you can also use it in the biology and marine biology classes.
So the MEF has been incredibly generous to the science department. This is the 3rd grant that we have been lucky to receive from the MEF. And they have streamlined the process of application. You state your case and you support it with the standards of learning, and they will consider almost any request. I feel very supported, both by the school district and the community, and especially in this grant application that is so much money. It's just such a tangible investment in the students, and because it was a class that I teach, I felt personally so grateful that they would consider and push forward with a grant that's very generous. Thank you to the Marshfield Education Foundation.